The first song that I'm going to discuss is called Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen. First, I'm going to start off by talking a little bit about how Leonard Cohen's life affected his work. First of all, Leonard Cohen was grown up in a pretty well-to-do family, and he had a lot of religious influence in his life. His grandfather was a rabbi, and his family was Jewish, but he also grew up in a town where Catholicism was very prevalent. Therefore, that influenced a lot of his life, which is why he puts a lot of allusions to religious things into his songs. And it was also said that when his father died at 9, that was a huge impact on his life. And when he died, he wrapped his father's tie in some song lyrics and buried it in the ground, is a rumor that people have heard. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to talk about religion as it relates to his song. And as I previously stated, I did the song Hallelujah. In postmodernism, religion is not really a huge deal most of the time. In regular modernism, religion was completely discounted. But in postmodernism, it was just pretty much ignored for the most part. And the important part about this song is that it actually shows a lot of religion, but it doesn't stray away from postmodernism because it doesn't show religion as the core principle for his life. It shows a lot of uncertainty when it comes to his religion. One set of lines that I think was really important to showcasing that was the following. There was a time when you let me know what was really going on below, but now you never show it to me, do you? So this is kind of showing the way that the author is kind of irritated almost with his God. He doesn't understand because God used to show him everything, and now he feels like he doesn't show him what he needs to show him anymore. So that was the religious-based area of postmodernism. And then next comes figurative language, and figurative language was huge in this song. He did a really great job of alluding to biblical characters and things like that. At one point, it talks about how he saw her bathing on the roof, and he let her take away his crown. And basically that's talking about the story of David and Bathsheba and how he had a great faith, and he was one of the highest faith in the Bible, yet he still fell short and allowed her to take away part of his holiness. And that was a big figurative language thing that showed up in this song. Next comes nature, and there's not a lot about nature in this song as far as what you can see. And the only thing that I really found was this thing that talked about broken and blazing hallelujahs, how there's both. And although that's not literal, I think that it's incredibly important because in nature you can see that there are both broken things and beautiful things. And there's a lot of confusion as far as, because postmodernists do not believe that things are really, there's a real big purpose. They don't understand. They think that there's a lot of different explanations for things. They don't necessarily believe in a higher power that put things there, and they don't know how to explain things away. So nature is a big question mark kind of in postmodernism. The next thing is human nature. And human nature, there was a great thing about human nature in here. Once again, going back to Samson and Jezebel was alluded to in the song. It talks about how she took his crown and she cut his hair. And basically Samson was a powerful character in the Bible who could only keep his power if he didn't cut his hair. And Jezebel cut his hair, which he allowed her to, and that took away all of his power. And that shows that human nature, even though you could believe in God and have a strong faith, you can still get off the path sometimes. And nobody's really ever hasn't fallen short. And that's part of the confusion that comes up in postmodernism, is nobody's really sure what to believe because nobody's ever been perfect and nobody has perfect faith. The next thing that I would like to talk about is government and society. And although there was not any real specific things about government in the song, because it was really talking about more spiritual, life kind of things, there was one part that I thought was somewhat like that. And it said, "You say I took the name in vain. I don't even know the name, but if I did, then really what's it to you?" And basically that's saying, like, they say that he took the name of God in vain, but he really doesn't personally believe that he knows the name of God. But even if he did, what business would it be of theirs? And that's a huge thing in postmodernism, because the postmodernists believe that everything, every person gets to pick their own truths. There are no absolute truths. And therefore, nobody can tell them what is and isn't right. And that can explain a lot of clash with government that would have taken place because of this during that genre, because they didn't want to hear from the government what they could and couldn't do, or what was right and wrong, because they decided that they could decide their own right and wrong for themselves, and nobody else should be able to tell them that. And that line really kind of shows that, I think, really well. The American dream in postmodernism was a lot about fulfilling yourself. No matter which generation it was, of the three different generations, baby boomers, Generation X, and Generation Y, all of them were all about me, me, me. One of them was about getting to the highest in hierarchical power. One of them was getting in touch the best with your spiritual side, who had the most spiritual power. And then the third one was just balancing those two into what was best for you and what you wanted. And it was a lot of selfishness, and that kind of came out. A lot of this song, if you listen to this song, is about me, me, me. And even though they're important questions that everybody faces, he's still worried about how they affect his own life. And one line from this song that was great was, "Maybe there's a God above, but all I really learned from love was how to shoot at someone who outdrew you." And that's really huge, because it's true. Even though he loves someone, even though there could be a God, the only thing he knows is survival of the fittest. The weak don't survive, the strong do. So you have to learn how to step on anybody that will help you get to the top. And if that means you have to destroy people that you care about, then that's just how it is, because that's what they care about, is power and getting to the top. And that's really sad, but that's the way it was. And the last thing that I would like to discuss is the idea of a hero. And the hero in postmodernism would be whoever comes out on top and basically fulfills their American dream, or is working on fulfilling their American dream. And I think that although in most cases you would think that fulfilling your American dream would mean you were the most powerful or the strongest or the most spiritual, in this case I think that he just came out on top because he found self-fulfillment and he figured out what he needed for himself. And the line that really works best with this is the very last line, because it gives the listener a lot of closure. And it goes like this: "I did my best, it wasn't much. I couldn't feel, so I learned to touch. I've told the truth, I didn't come to fool you. And even though it all went wrong, I'll stand before the Lord of Song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah." And that was huge, because it talked about how even though he didn't do anything right, and he messed up a lot, and he wasn't the strongest, he wasn't the most powerful, in the end, he still believes in God, and he still has that faith, and that's the important thing to him. And that's the spiritual fulfillment that he has. And in the end, that means he wins.